So for the first time ever, progress is not defined by how fast we can push forward, but how we intentionally step back. For over 2 decades, the global cultural experiment was driven by one unyielding directive, and that was to optimize everything. Because Silicon Valley promised us a world devoid of friction, where algorithms would anticipate our desires and those screens would eliminate our boredom. And artificial intelligence, well, that will handle our cognitive burdens. And yet, as the dust begins to settle on this hyper-digital era, humanity is hit with a profound biological wall. Noticing across the globe that the erasure of the mental health effort has not liberated the human mind whatsoever. In fact, it has atrophied. And in response to this cognitive crisis, a quiet but powerful counter-revolution is taking hold. Driven by a unique alliance between millennials who remember the analog world and the younger generations feeling all the toxic effects of the oversaturation of every little thing in life. Meaning modern culture right now is actively rewilding its psyche by reclaiming the physical, the analog, the hands-on wisdom of our ancestors. And they are currently calling this Granny Core. And yes, I know, us millennials have pushed cottagecore all the way back to its original status. But to understand this new wave of cultural rewilding of the psyche, one must first understand what it means to truly wild out within current cultural standards. I mean, yes, we all right now understand what it means to wild an ecosystem. In nature, to rewild involves removing all human and artificial involvement, such as, but not limited to, dams, fences, old parking lots not being used. All demolished just so local native flora and fauna can restore itself. It can restore its checks and balances naturally. But to rewild the human psyche, that is kind of doing the same thing, because what we are doing here is rewilding and restructuring the internal landscape of ourselves, mentally, emotionally. And this means to intentionally dismantle the digital infrastructure of everything that you use. Anything that traps our attention in the infinite loop of dopamine spikes and all the algorithmic feeds.
I'm obsessed with knitting. I think people assume that it's a boring grandma activity, but I know a lot of cool young people who are into knitting. About a year ago, I decided to start picking up knitting again. A lot of my friends are into it right now. Got really into it and I can't stop. It was a bit of a learning curve at first. I wasn't very good at it. I was slow. I was making a lot of mistakes. But then I started getting into a flow. I think there's a lot going on in the world right now. It's a scary time, and this is a very comforting hobby. People are just drawn to activities that feel like a safe place right now. This is how you knit in 4 steps. Step 1,
stab it, strangle it, scoop out its guts, throw it off a cliff. Stab it, strangle it, scoop out its guts, throw it off a cliff.
The needle through the loop. Step 2, wrap the yarn around. Step 3, pull it through. Step 4, take it off. I find it easiest to start with a scarf because you're just going in a straight line back and forth. Then you can learn how to knit in the round like I did for the hat. I'm working on my very first sweater. Very excited about this. I think it's going to take me a long time. You're creating one project and then you start getting excited about the next project and then the next project and then the next project. So it's very addictive in that way.
So to wild truly means to call out the truth of society for all of its lifetimes of modernizing the world with intentions, inventions of advancements, all that was just field mining, the human attention for resources and labor, just so you can want goods that don't provide any purpose or value. So rewilding the psyche is the cultural declaration that our minds are an ecosystem to be protected. And to be clear here, this movement is not a manifestation of Luddite rejection. No. We're not rejecting all the technology. But this is us reclaiming our health, our mental health, in a sophisticated way. But boundaries, they're beginning to create your first integration back into intentional friction of daily life. Yes, I'll repeat that. Your boundaries right now are your first integration back into allowing the harshness of reality, life itself, to teach you through failure, to teach you through oopsie-daisies. You know, you might call it embarrassment, you might call it ego crushing. No. That's life. Because let's face this right now. The most urgent battleground for this cognitive restoration truly begins inside the classroom. Because that's where digital damage was most severe. It took over, y'all. And we're seeing this first-handed every single day. Okay, so let's be clear here. For decades, school have raced to digitize their education. We're talking 3.5 decades long. Trading physical books for screens. Trading phonics for word memorization. This is why our kids can't read. All while handwriting was traded for keyboards and then speech to text. Ooh, the bane. And this is all under the guise of modernization. Really? Because as we can see, the results are disastrous, culminating in historical declines in student literacy, in focusing, and in critical thinking. Really? So this current wave of rewilding the psyche itself is an aggressive culture of self-correction. I mean, mind the fact that the cost of living itself re-amped and reinvigorated this granny core movement. Yes, I still chuckle at the term granny core. Really? I mean, this is learning how to be self-reliant, self-sufficient. In the end, learning how to become a sovereign person. So this movement in rewilding the psyche has currently shifted the entire psyche of the globe itself across the board as a whole. As we have 3 generations partaking in learning of self-reliance. While schools are beginning to initiate the return to paper process. Yes! There are kids who don't know how to read or write their own damn names currently. Seriously? You're in high school and you don't know how to read your own name. This blows my mind. So all of this is recognizing that the tactical friction of just turning the page in a book, just reading. Seriously, this activates all of that spatial memory. And this is also engaged by handwriting, reading, and then writing your opinions about what you just read. And these are things that are just biological avenues of deep learning. And furthermore, there are other places who are implementing strict phone-free zones. Yes, I encourage this everywhere. Because society is starting to force young people back into necessary discomfort of social friction. These are things needed for development, for personalizing of what you need and what your likes and dislikes are. Ooh, knowing where you actually stand in the argument that you're saying. They don't even understand the words that are coming out their mouth. They don't understand the life circumstances that are behind all of that. And so the reason why we all agree to phone-free zones, now without a screen to shield them from all the boring moments and all the antagonizing and tedious moments of life, they now have to face them head on. So these next gens are learning eye contact. They're learning how to navigate their peers, how to navigate relationships, all in real time. Yes. And most of all, and this is important, they're learning that quiet time is needed to sort out the thoughts. And yes, quiet time. Shh. Stare at the ceiling if you must. Here, later on in the video, we'll be going through a whole list of things for you. Because while not just inside the classroom or in your home and in your own hands, we have a massive shift occurring simultaneously at this very moment with how the world is beginning to interact with technology itself. Because the market is beginning to witness the rise of slow tech, flip phones, track phones, anything that doesn't have the ability to download all these apps of distraction. And this is a direct cultural parallel to the slow food movement when everybody realized that they needed to combat the health crisis of processed fast food. I mean, even processed grocery food. Learn how to stay in the perimeter of the stores itself while you're shopping. Because as all the stats and statistics show is that more and more all these young adults are actively migrating away from hyper-optimization smartphones, tablets, TVs, and they're going towards this dumb phone or even, as we said, the basic track phone. And this is the profound evolutionary pivot point, y'all. This is what I've been trying to talk about. As fundamental skills are finally being learned across the generations that we have been trying to instill, they're finally learning how to use the tools that are literally in their hands. Your phone is not a TV, it is a tool. And so right now, the market is seeing consumers are willing to pay for devices that do much less. All because us consumers are in hopes that the manufacturers themselves provide us one solid piece of a device that will last the lifetime of us. We just want to be able to trade out parts. Let us have a device that lasts our lifetime, please. We'll pay you that good money. So what if you lose in the long run? You're not having a reoccurring money flow. At least you're going to be able to say, hey, our product holds the test of time, literally. This is what we're looking for. So we, the consumers, and especially us younger generations, are seeing cultural value in our mental autonomy all over corporate optimization by injecting the infinite scroll and now beginning to rewild our own psyches, doing things by handcrafts, doing things in nature. We'll get to the list here shortly. All because they're finally seeing that us not going towards these devices and the infinite scroll of doom, we have starved their algorithms of human distraction. And this is truly establishing a new cultural baseline of privacy, stillness, and unbroken focus. These three things are now being viewed as ultimate markers of luxury and well-being. Mental wellness over luxury goods. Handcrafted items from natural base fabrics and products. Snaps. So ultimately, what all of these markets are running from scarce and starting to close down is because gone are the days of luxury items, and focus is now on purposeful rewilding of the psyche, going back to what our grandparents and great-grandparents did. And this represents a beautiful synthesis of integral wisdom. As the bridge generation, millennials, who grew up in the analog twilight of things, going from analog handwritten all the way into the digital current, we are beginning to step into a new evolutionary role as mentors, possessing the muscle memory of the world before the internet. And this becomes a field guide of reverse engineering of basic skills and fighting the loop scrolls Because to be fair, millennials and older, having the ability to get lost without being panicked. We don't need some map on our phone. We don't need an app. We don't need to create anything in our life from a digital template. And we find peace in analog solitude, knowing how to handwrite all of your ideas out. And this is us being able to pass down all these skills to the younger generations who are desperately trying to unplug right now, but just don't have a blueprint to do so. Because right now, humanity is effectively resetting its own genome at this very moment. Realizing that the lifestyles of our grandparents and great-grandparents that everybody was laughing about were truly anchored in physical crafting and in mechanical problem solving. Like, woo, the technical skills behind all of that is astounding. So within that, they had a deep human presence within each other, within the community itself. And this is what it's going back to. All by looking backwards just to move forward, the next generations are not de-evolving. No. They're transforming a digital wall into a cultural filter, ensuring the essence of human intellect, creativity, and wildness itself survives intact for generations to come. Like, this is a beautiful thing. So up next, we're going to go over the list that I compiled that I call the special rule book for Gen Z and beyond. And these lists would also be down in the description box if you want to cut, copy, and paste them as well. Well, a long time ago, our grandparents lived purely within the physical world itself, playing in the mud, reading the paper, reading paperback books itself, writing, journaling, exploring nature, gardening, farming, animal husbandry. And when they were bored, they simply climbed trees, looked at the clouds, created characters itself in the clouds. So their minds were wild and free, just like the forests that were around them. And today, screens and robots just simply try to do all of that thinking for us, which does no good. Because when the machine begins to do all the work for us, the brain begins to get lazy. And this is what tires you out. So rewilding itself means turning off all them screens, anything that becomes distraction, just so the mind becomes strong, wild, and free again. Go outside. Do a handcraft. If you must have any digital interface for noise around you, make it be music only. So step one, let's begin. Boredom is good. Do not fight this. Do not pick up the phone for a distraction. The mind must work through its own things. So boredom is good. You can physically keep your hands busy. You can paint, you can draw, you can do anything. You can crochet, you can knit. Figure something to physically do so your mind can mentally work through and process life itself. Because in this, you can simply just daydream. You can invent new games, board games, cards, dice, anything. There are thousands of options you can choose from that are physically active. And all of this is creating self-awareness and character building. These are life skills that are needed every single day. And so let's go to step two. Use your hands with building blocks, Legos, I don't care, Lincoln Logs, sphincters, anything. Anything that allows you to just stay mobile. Simply doodle on paper. I don't care if you can draw. Beginners, just know that drawing begins with just scratches. Or you can do what I do, plant seeds in real dirt. I try to take this second half outside. As you can tell, there's still raindrops all over me. But these are all real things that literally makes your brain so happy. And then a third thing, look at faces when you're talking and having interactions. Eye contact, not screen contact. Okay? And then this goes into the fourth, begin doing harder things. Simplify it. Do a physical 500-piece puzzle. Or pick up a book that you think might be too tough. If it makes you pull out the dictionary or a thesaurus or look things up, that is perfectly fine. This is where your learning begins. Knowing how to use things in the correct context. And all of this struggle is how your brain grows big and strong. This is how you start building your mental well-being. So your daily wilding out missions should be at least screen time sleep. Shut off all digital things for at least 2 hours solid every single day. That's bare minimum. Minimum. So put that phone and tablet in a drawer, shut that TV off, unplug everything if you must, and then step outside or pick up a craft. It has to use your hands, your mind, your creativity. Step 2 is going to be paper power. Pick up that physical book. Start reading a story from the library or write your own. Step 3, pencil and pen power, the power of journaling. Just simply sitting down and writing. You don't have to write about anything specific, just write what comes to your mind. You'll be baffled. You'll also be kind of, ooh. Or you can simply write a note or a letter. Make a card and send it off. Yes, old school style. Do you not know how great it is to get a handwritten note in the mail? I have a whole tote full of them. They're great, and they're from people that have passed on in life already. So I have those as mementos. Their own stories, their own handwritings, their drawings, like little quirks and poems, little things. Those are special mementos in the future. If you're starting to write all of this, go out in nature, get lost someplace, then sit down with a pen and paper and begin to write. Listen to the birds, feel the grass, listen to the symphony of all the bugs, the crickets, the frogs, all of it. And then, in turn, if you have the privilege and luxury of still having a grandparent around, ask what they did when they were little. How did they play? What did they go and try and do? And then mimic that. And these are just beautiful, simple tools that we can share to the younger generations that are actually willing to listen right now. Yes, I'm specifically talking about millennials and above, so Gen Zs and all of our wonderful baby boomers. Well, let's be clear here. I'm specifically talking about millennials and boomers, because Gen X is currently right now way too busy holding up the remaining of the workforce that AI has not taken over yet. But within these asking of questions, you're going to quickly realize that the brainstorm quickly moves from games to your body. Like tag, hide and go seek, merry-go-round. Play any of these classic games. You can invite your neighborhood friends, call cousins over, have a cookout. It don't even need to be a cookout, it can be a basic picnic. Bike and scooter rides, do some four wheels, explore the street and feel the wind on your face, the sun on your skin. You can even do simple obstacle courses. You can take some chalk and on the sidewalk, make a track, and then use colorful chalk to jump and spin. Create little symbols that make you say, if you land on this, you gotta twirl. We got fort building outside, inside, with boxes, with pillows, with blankets, anything. Use your imagination. This is what it's for. Even tree climbing. Find a low and safe branch, because I know y'all are new at this. You can't be experienced like us. Not yet. But this is just being elevated and seeing things from a different height, a different angle. You see, this is what we're going for. And then you can even switch into things that you're also creating with your hands outside, like building sandcastles in the dirt, building mud pies, any figures. Use sticks and twigs and start braiding them together, building little logs out of those, little houses and huts for squirrels and any bugs. You can even go rock hunting. Find dull rocks and actually paint them with eco-friendly paints, no latex. And then just find smooth sides and paint bright, vibrant colors and stick them in gardens. You'll even find that old school, we still know how to make serious paper planes, y'all. So learn how to construct with paper. Learn how to throw them outside. Have races with those. That was fun. And odds are somebody inside your community loves woodworking and they got that pile of scrap wood. Why don't you go to them and say, hey, can you show me how to use some of these old pieces and glue together a birdhouse or something? Learn how to work with your hands. Learn how to do the mathematical skills of learning how to build something small so you can learn how to build bigger structures that can switch into you knowing how to build a house. You can even switch all of these back into inside hobbies. Learn how to work with all of your strings, with all of your threads, with all of your... Don't do nylon, don't do plastics, don't do anything that's latex, don't do anything that's... No, none of that. So what we're talking about is working with linen, wool, cotton, and just learn how to make friendship bracelets. Friendship bracelets best. If you're going to macrame, use your hemp. And yes, we got books on that, but millennials and older, we already know how to do at least 100 out of 1,000 of those knots. So we can show you. We can show you. Because we did a lot of macrame, which was our gateway to crocheting and knitting. And for me, it was my gateway to sewing because I used my macrame to use on the outside for button work and all of that. It's fun. And then this is also learning how to maybe spin your own threads, learning how to weave your own textile that you can use in the future. These are basic skills that you can learn how to master while young and build a business with while you're older. So as you can tell, the biggest part about rewilding the psyche is also exploring the real world. So as I said, maybe a little bit of that bug observation. Look under a rock. Go and walk barefooted into nature. Observe, but don't destroy. Sightsee, stargaze, birdwatch. Just planting those seeds. Seeing a meteor shower. Seeing a full moon. Seeing a new moon when there's no moon in the sky so you can actually see the Milky Way. Puddle jumping. Enjoy the rain while it's storming. Then we can switch over to quiet and cozy mind activities. Library trips. Take a walk. Pick out a book. That jigsaw puzzle that we were talking about. That can be a family affair. You can get better at drawing and begin drawing your own characters. And it don't have to be nothing lavish. It can just be basic notepad and paper at first because you're just doing this to pass the time. Your dice, your card games, your goldfish, your war. These are all real hands-on games where you have to use counting and intuition. And I keep mentioning dice because there are hundreds and thousands of games just with dice alone. And my favorite game is taking 6 dice and playing a game called 10,000 and or Yahtzee. Then you can also switch over to the art of daydreaming. Because the art of silence and looking within your own thoughts is key here to rewilding your personal psyche inside. So lay back, look at the ceiling, and just let your mind wander. You can focus on absolutely nothing, or just one single spot. And you guys, let's face it, we also have real house skills that need to be developed. This is how to take care of yourself. These are basic things that people call common sense, which isn't so common no more. So this is why it needs to be reinstilled. Like cooking, baking, learn how to use your stove and oven, and learn how to clean up immediately afterwards. For the love of everything that is sanitary. Learning how to measure ingredients and learning how to read a recipe. These are crucial. Because once you go from there, you can learn how to use your raw ingredients that you grow in the garden out back and know how to efficiently use them in the kitchen for your health and safety and mental well-being, because a healthy body is a healthy mind. Because cooking is where you're gardening. It just really pays off if you know what you're doing. And this is purely practice. And then let's switch over to laundry and cleaning. Whew, y'all use way too much soap. Way too much soap. But learning how to wash your own clothes, clean your room, and taking care of things all on your own and your environment around you is key for mental health and success. And then we can switch over to sewing and mending. So learning how to buy natural fabrics and knowing how to mend them instead of rebuying. Knowing how to get at least 10 plus years out of something. Using that needle and thread to fix that shirt, to fix those pants, to darn those socks. Yes, those darned socks. And this is fundamental for learning self-sufficiency and sovereignty. So then we can switch over to even more making and crafting, building useful things for your house from scratch, because now you know how to sew, now you know how to knit, now you know how to crochet, now you know how to decorate. Or now you know how to paint. Or now you know how to wood burn. Lots of things. And these are all things that you're going to be able to stretch throughout many fields of life because they're experiences that you're providing to yourself. And just because you think, well, what is wood burning going to do? Well, I built that box, wood burnt the top, so I took scraps of something and I can now sell it for $80 to $100. But right now it's holding photos. So things like that is knowing how to use raw materials wisely and creating either an income or building the things of your own luxury status. And these are the current granny core things, I'm going to keep laughing at this, that are happening right now for Gen Z and millennials alike. But however, let us not forget the community and habitat skills on top of all of this. How to truly understand nature, animal husbandry, because I live in the country, knowing how to animal track, how to watch animals and see them in their own habitat, what they eat, how they stay safe, how they shelter, all the way back from growing that garden, all the way back from actually knowing what foods you can actually eat at what time, what things need to be processed before ingesting, knowing what is actually medicine, and knowing what plants that you can keep alive throughout all the seasons if you live up north like I do and have all 4 seasons ranging from 115 degrees to -40. For you Celsius people, that's 41 degrees Celsius and -40 degrees Celsius. So there are times where you need shelter for your plants and there are times where you definitely do not. So you need to learn these processes so that way you can be as self-sufficient and sovereign as possible. Earlier, I mentioned rock hunting. Why is this important? Because, earth science is definitely important. Knowing the different types of stones and minerals that are around you that are in the ground. Knowing which ones are strong enough to build with. This is the geology part of earth science. Going into what falls in with animal husbandry and that stewardship. To know how to build that structure for them as well. And for you. Because all of these skills begin to teach spatial awareness and understanding these raw materials. And I'm only stating this because we have an ever-shrinking skill set of masters that are nearly impossible to find and to teach us these old world building skills, these skills that must never die, y'all. And I am talking about real brick making and masonry. Using your own hands to dig out mud, to know how to siphon it out, to pack it, to kiln it, knowing how to lay it out. What I'm saying is knowing how to build strong walls that live hundreds, nearly 1,000 years. And then we truly have real carpentry skills and building skills with these materials. Learning how to become your own repair person in the midst of learning these skills. So that way in times of need or in times of isolation or in times that is dire in any way, shape, or form, you know how to fix your own habitat. Learning how to isolate a problem, learning how to solve it all on your own, This is extremely valuable and important things to learn in your own lifestyle, especially if you want to break free. But of course, all of this includes, but not limited to, saving your own money in certain items, fixing your own broken tools, and learning how to use your items carefully and mend them properly. Learning how to make less trash so you can live simple and happy. And all of these are examples that my grandparents and great-grandparents have taught me as a child personally. So in turn, rewilding of the psyche goes beyond the loss of focus and literacy. There is a more existential threat that lies deeper within. And it is an erosion of reality right now. As generative artificial intelligence floods the ecosystems with a deluge of synthetic text and videos and visuals, all these deepfakes of hyper-digitalized imagery and, constant feed of just nonsense. You know what I'm talking about. The virtual world is suffering from a crisis of authenticity. Okay? Yes, I said it. Because within this environment, the hyper-digitalized mind, which can create psychosis pretty darn fast, becomes entirely untethered from reality, unable to distinguish from genuine human expression and machine-generated imagination or imitation. So here lies the real cultural value of rewilding the psyche. And in this movement, it is turning back to the physical world that is no longer just therapeutic, but a lifestyle choice. And this is an act of epistemic survival, y'all. Because physical survival, physical touch to real world and nature itself, provides a reality that is inherent, unhackable, and authentic. That garden seed planted in real soil, that physical vibration of the musical instrument, not just from the radio, but playing the drum, but playing the brass, but playing anything, the guitar, the raw emotional nuance of an in-person conversation without any distractions, the mechanical resonance of a broken machine that cannot be hallucinated by an AI. So by rewilding your psyche through tactile, real-world experiences, the next generation is relearning how to anchor their minds purely in a baseline of objective truth. Yes, a baseline of objective truth. They're just developing a cognitive immune system that is allowing them to navigate the digital wilderness without being consumed by all of the illusions. Because the oversaturation, it's too much. They now are like, we're done. So in turn, this is bringing forth a new, old way of living. I mean, in symbiosis with AI and not being taken over by it. And what are your thoughts on all of this? How have you seen the Granny Core come into effect in your community and around its youth? And have you noticed Gen Z getting back on track? And if you happen to be Gen Z, what things do you currently do to break from the norm of the oversaturated resources and the lifestyles that they are pushing on you? I'm very curious to know your answers and replies on this, so please leave a comment below and I would genuinely leave a response back. And I will see you in the next one. Keep it fun, keep it safe out there.